I'm a fan of some competitive Pokemon playing. I do with my friends sometimes. We get together, choose some Pokemon by several different aspects, and then have a fight. Competitive Pokemon is fun, it's stressful, but what is the greatest Pokemon game of all time? The single best battle. Frieza here is going to explain this to us. I'm just going to hit that like button beforehand because I already know it's going to be a bang. Here we go.
On October 6th, 2016, the greatest battle in competitive things.
Is that the Showdown chat? If you don't know, Pokemon Showdown is a website that allows you to play and spectate on Pokemon battles online. It's great. It's fantastic. You can go into this thinking that you're the best player on the planet, and then you get destroyed by Gabe8679.
Singles Pokemon history happened between a player known as Telly and a player known as ABR. A battle so legendary that people
1,200 turns? That's insane.
would be talking for years about where were you when Telly versus ABR happened. A battle so legendary that it crashes your browser if you try to open it.
What? Okay, that's really funny.
A battle so
Dude, he's just throwing up question marks in the chat like, dude, what is happening? Are you kidding me?
legendary that it took
Look at this. This Skarmory has +6 attack and is paralyzed. Its Brave Bird's doing 74%.
1,287 turns to finish.
1,287 turns. That's ridiculous. That's the amount of turns it probably takes you to finish the majority of a Pokemon game. You need that many turns to beat the whole game.
A battle so legendary that word of it reached all over the competitive universe at the time.
Oh, wow. This is big online, big on the internet. Even Cybertron Zhang was tweeting about it.
The story of Telly vs ABR deserves an explanation to understand just what made it the greatest battle of all time. But first, subscribe to the channel. Most of you are not subscribed and it helps the channel out a lot.
Wait a minute, Frieza. I already am subscribed, but you're not. Why are you not subscribed? What are you doing? You have made a grave error and a massive mistake, and you should rectify this if you want to.
Out of new subscribers on a video about tournaments, I'll know that I should keep making more videos about tournaments.
I mean, this one got 1.5 million views, so...
starts relatively tamely in round 2 of OLT.
Oh, it's a ladder... Oh my god, it was a tournament! That's why people went to the brinks of insanity to finish this, because it was in an actual proper tournament that you could, I assume, win some big clout, maybe a little bit of pennies, some money, some moolah. That explains why they didn't just quit and leave and go home. So, Tubby's team, you got Mew, Clefable, Azumarill, Latias, Zapdos, and Registeel. Not the most stall-heavy team on the planet, so I don't know why it took so long. Then we have Zapdos, Clefable, Lopunny for some reason, Garchomp, Skarmory, and Slowbro. A little bit more stall-heavy. We got Slowbro with some Regenerator slack off. We got Roost on Skarmory. We got some Moonlight, maybe some Wish on Clefable. Some Roost on the Zapdos. There's a lot of recovery going on here. I could see why this would take a little bit, but I don't understand the 1,200 turns.
One of Slogan's biggest tournaments. ABR wins game 1 in the best of 3 to set up a do-or-die situation for Telly.
Okay.
If Telly loses game 2, he is eliminated from the tournament.
So Telly is Tubby with the one on the right here, this one.
Entering the match, Telly is firmly the villain of the community. He has a history of trolling and harassment.
You're annoying, holy fuck. You're a big annoying fat ass. How? Tell me. Okay, I'm not saying that word.
And he is probably the guy you know who flames you on the ladder. Normally, I don't talk about players themselves in a negative light, because people are more nuanced and complicated than what I can show in a YouTube video.
That's so base and true. So true that while you can form your narratives in videos, you don't really know what things are like under the hood, what they're like behind the eyeball, behind the Mew.
And people can and do change, and no one is entirely represented by their worst moments, but the reason I mention it here is because it's relevant to the story.
Okay.
It's part of the reason why the game was as hyped up as it was. Everyone wants to see the villain lose, and both players at the time were new upcoming players who love to trash talk. Telly...
Oh, so this was a little bit of drama. We got a little drama in this, a little bit of funsies.
Stall, but more importantly, it's a do-nothing stall team. Telly's only way of doing consistent damage were Poison from Toxic on Registeel and Azumarill, Burn from Will-O-Wisp on Mew, Scald on Azumarill, and weak attacks from Pokemon like Defensive Mega Latias, Defensive Zapdos, and Defensive Clefable.
Oh, this is a straight up, I'm gonna make you tilt team. Oh, that's so toxic. That literally has toxic on it.
There's no way of attacking, merely not dying.
Oh, I used an Azumarill with Toxic, Scald, Rest, and Encore. I would never want to play against this. Honestly, if I was in a situation, in a tournament, I'm scooping. See you later, buds. I gotta do something. I have to go lie in my bed and think about things for a while.
ABR doesn't exactly bring the paragon of offense, but it's more of a balanced team with a lot of longevity. It has bulkier Pokemon with recovery like Clefable, Slowbro, and Skarmory, but also offensive Pokemon like Mega Lopunny and Garchomp. Early on, the game starts innocently enough. ABR is able to use Outrage Garchomp and get damage on Registeel in exchange for getting Toxiced. Telly made a gambit here that even though he could have immediately gone Clefable on Outrage, he would rather trade damage on Registeel for a permanent Toxic on the Garchomp.
Because he could just rest on the Registeel, right? Registeel gets rest, doesn't it? I mean, this is in 2016 when things are a little bit different.
A few turns later, Mega Lopunny comes in and it's relatively threatening.
Oh, Mega Lopunny, right.
Stab combo.
Dude, it's been so long since we had Mega Evolutions, I forgot they existed. I would like them to bring them back. I like Mega Evolutions. Mega Mawil's the best one. I love that little double-mouthed critter. But honestly, I don't think they're going to come back. At this point, it's been too long. There's been too many gimmicks coming afterwards. Gen 10 or Gen... No, what gen are we on? Gen 10. It's just going to have another gimmick. Mega Evolutions, they're dead in the water, never to return.
It can do some damage to Clefable if it predicts it well, but it's never really reaching 2-hit KO range. Telly makes an aggressive play and leaves Registeel in on Lopunny to try and Toxic it while predicting a return.
Wow.
Instead, ABR clicks a super effective move and knocks out Registeel on turn 29.
Okay, so like we got a little bit of damage going on here, so the Registeel's gone.
No one knew it at the time, but this is going to be the last death that they're going to see for almost 1,000 more turns.
What? The last death for 1,000 turns? I can't imagine playing a Pokemon battle for this long. Your brain would be running on overdrive. It would be burning out. It would be sparking flames. It would be pouring out of your ears as you try to comprehend what you're supposed to do on turn 1202.
The next 100 to 200 turns were calm because neither player was making overt progress. ABR's Mega Lopunny could never break through physically defensive Azumarill, Clefable, and Zapdos, and Telly's team was never going to break through ABR's team because ABR's team had enough longevity. Clefable can heal itself and is immune to status.
Ooh, a freeze right there would have done that Zapdos in.
And Slowbro has Regenerator, who can take on a lot of the weak attackers.
Oh, it's zone 50 exactly. A freeze would be huge. A freeze or a crit.
Telly's main form of attack was using Zapdos and potentially going for Heat Wave burns, but that's about it. It would never break ABR's own Zapdos.
Why would you play teams like this? I can't imagine. Does no one have anything else to do? Do you know what? Respect your own time. You want to sit there for 600 turns? Never mind 1200s.
All the while, Telly is using up a lot of PP making attacks, and ABR is content to just switch around with Pokemon like Roost, Zapdos, and Regenerator Slowbro. It becomes very clear that the game would not be about getting the most damage, but draining the most PP. Now is a good time to explain ties. The rules about tying have been slightly modified over the years, but at the time, if both players could agree to a tie, they could just end the game and do a rematch with different teams.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. But there's no way this couple is going to do that.
There are many game states where a tie would be the best course of action. For example, if there are 2 Regenerator Pokemon on a team, they could switch back and forth infinitely without wasting PP. If a player is incapable of doing
so
enough
gross.
damage to stop Regenerator switching, they themselves would resort to switching strategies too as to not waste their own PP. In that situation, a tie would be the best outcome because both players have recognized that their best play is to just switch infinitely and not waste PP. It's important.
This is so. It just becomes a thing of like, oh, do you have anything to do today? I've not got anything to do today. We can be here for days. Yeah, I'll wait. I'll stay up all night. I've got some gamer subs. I use code Patterrz to gamer subs, and I got a beautiful discount on some delicious beverages, which you can get caffeine or caffeine free. I can stay here all night.
That there are many situations that look like a tie, but are actually not. Even if a lot of damage is not going on, as long as PP is being consumed, there is progress being made because it can lead to struggle. Even if 1 PP is being consumed every 10 turns, that is technically progress being made. If one player does not want to tie the game cannot.
That's progress being made in the same way where in the medieval times we use horse and carriage for hundreds and hundreds of years, but oh no, we made a longbow that can shoot slightly further. Progress is being made, guys. What's that? No, yes, we still do piss outside of our windows. That is, no, progress will be made eventually.
Be tied. Both players must agree. The onus is on the player to understand what is a tied game and what is not. If a player believes that they can go for a win, it is their right to do so. The only exception is that if it's clear both players are switching infinitely, but one player is denying the tie just to be annoying or trying to wait until the opponent has to leave, then a tournament director can step in to tie the game. That
I'm trying forever. Tie is not an option.
is rare though. Interference from outsiders is only...
That was on turn 400. He said a tie is not an option. He's got anime protagonist vibes.
In extreme and obvious situations. Telly did not have any Pokemon with Regenerator, and ABR did not want a tie. He wanted to break through with sheer PP. On turn 307, ABR reveals Swords Dance Skarmory.
Oh, I really want to know who wins this, but we got like, oh, we got 6. We're halfway through the video. I really want to know who wins this so bad. I'm going to make a bet. I think ABR is going to be the one to win this.
Never seen moveset that no one would ever reasonably expect, but he saved it for a long time after Telly started burning up PP he didn't know he'd need. Ordinarily, Zapdos is a complete counter to anything Skarmory tries to do. All of Skarmory's attacks are not very effective, and meanwhile Zapdos has Discharge and Heat Wave to hit Skarmory super effectively. However, Zapdos has been using up its attacking PP and was slowly running out. This sets up a very nasty combination. Skarmory can use Swords Dance on a Pokemon like Clefable and bait in Zapdos. However, when Zapdos attacks Skarmory, the Skarmory user can switch out and waste an attacking PP.
So you just need to do that enough times to completely rinse the entire PP pool until it starts struggling, and then you can win.
All of a sudden, if Zapdos runs out of PP, then Skarmory can actually beat it.
Oh, it would be so funny if it had Recycle Leopard Berry in one of these guys.
Of course, that's easier said than done. Just as Skarmory can try and bait a PP from Telly's Zapdos, Telly can predict the bait and switch out himself and not lose a PP at all. Skarmory also has to deal with Scald Azumarill and Will-O-Wisp Mew, but the concept to stall PP is the same.
I love how the game is starting to lag the further we get into the game. We're on turn 475 and the game is like breaking down a little bit.
Skarmory represents the tiniest of chances to go for a win. In the meanwhile though, Telly has been bleeding PP a lot more than ABR has, and he reaches low PP on moves before ABR does, and now he has to start being extremely careful about how he uses it, and the game devolves into almost endless switching. The most common scenario being ABR Slowbro versus Telly Zapdos. ABR will always switch his Slowbro out of Zapdos because he'll never want to risk it dying. At the same time, Telly will never want to attack into a Slowbro switching out because it means he loses 1 PP for nothing. This leads to a situation where neither player wants to attack because it would just lead to losing 1 PP for no reason. Telly is playing for the tie, he wants this to happen, but ABR is not.
Can you imagine having like a wife in this situation? Your wife's like, come on, it's time to go on our date that we've had planned for a week now. We're gonna go to a nice steakhouse. No, I can't! I'm switching infinitely right now. There's a 1,000 turns! You don't understand! There's 1,000 turns! I have to switch infinitely!
ABR isn't switching back and forth just for fun. He's switching back and forth to eventually go Skarmory on one of the times. By switching back and forth many times, Telly cannot reasonably attack predicting Skarmory because the past 20 times ABR went to something that could tank an attack, and that would have wasted one of Telly's PP. Skarmory is able to get in the game on one of Telly's switches instead of having to tank an attack. Once Skarmory gets in, it has a chance of forcing a reaction that loses a PP with the plays mentioned earlier. This
All of this for 1 PP.
Process is time consuming and it takes many turns just to waste 1 PP.
Patterrz is kind of huge in this situation too, because there's just a chance that the Clefable can't move, and if a Clefable can't use Heal Bell and it can't heal itself, it eventually dies.
But without a doubt, the Skarmory is wasting a little PP every once in a while. There would be stretches of 30 plus turns with nothing but switching, finally culminating in Telly using up 1 PP and then repeating the switch process again. And every once in a while, Telly would make a blind stab trying to catch the Skarmory switch in just to waste another PP. Additionally, every once in a while, Skarmory would get in position to Swords Dance, throw off a Brave Bird, and force a recovery move. This is important because Brave Bird has more PP than Soft Boil and can lead to further PP progress. ABR has an advantage, but could Telly defend the tie with perfect play? Maybe he could, but Telly wasn't playing perfectly.
Oh no, Telly!
The process continues for many.
To be fair, if you're 1,000 turns into a Pokemon battle, you're gonna start breaking down a little bit. Have you ever felt yourself be dumb before? I feel myself be dumb all of the time. Things that I should be able to do pretty easily, things that I should know, things that I should be on top of all of the time, they start to slip after, say, I travel back from America like I did recently. I was up for 35 hours, and I was looking at things, and I was trying to think. I would try and remember something, and there was nothing there. It just didn't work. And I could feel myself be dumb.
Hundreds of turns until finally there's an opening. Mega Lopunny comes in on a predict as Clefable goes for Wish. Then it hits Zapdos with its 11th Ice Punch of the game
Whoa!
and gets its first freeze.
Oh, it's huge! It's huge! There it is, folks. There it is, folks. A huge freeze.
Then, later on turn 1220, Skarmory goes for Swords Dance on the frozen Zapdos.
Wow.
If the Zapdos stays frozen, great.
This is just the fuck up we ball moment. This is it. This is the now is your chance. This is Gohan killing Cell right now. When Goku screams out from the heavens that it's time to attack, this Skarmory goes for it.
If not, there's some more PP stalling left. Only this time, Zapdos is almost out of PP. By turn 1220, Zapdos
Oh, we got up to +6. This is it.
run out of Roost, run out of Heat Wave, and only has 2 discharges left.
Oh, there's the fall.
Zapdos
Discharge.
unfreezes, gets an attack off,
Oh, gets the power.
gets hit itself, and then fires off another attack on the Skarmory baiting the attack.
Oh, no.
Now,
Oh, he just lost all of his boost. That's so sad.
1200 turns later, Zapdos has run out of all of its PP and can no longer beat Skarmory. Moreover, the paralysis from discharge now means that Mew's Will-O-Wisp and Azumaril's Scald cannot burn Skarmory anymore. Skarmory switches out until it can find a chance to roost, and then it starts going for the win with Swords Dance. Zapdos is effectively gone, Mew cannot burn, and all that's left is an unaware Clefable that's running dangerously low on Wish PP. It ends up not mattering if Skarmory gets lucky enough, but Skarmory did have enough PP to break through eventually. Once Clefable goes down, it's all over. Skarmory removes Mew, and the team has officially been broken down. ABR cashes in all the PP he's been saving up, and gets a Toxic on Mega Latias, and then later knocks out Azumarill with Psychic.
Oh, it's so Jova, dude.
Finally, after 1287 turns, ABR finally
Here
gets
it
the win
goes.
and ends the game. Did ABR really need 1300 turns to execute his game?
Oh my god, he 6-0'd him. Imagine playing for 1300 turns in a battle and not managing to knock out a single Pokemon. That's so embarrassing. I would never do that. I'm so good. That would probably happen to me.
Plan? Only he really knows. ABR reached an advantageous position around turn 350 or so, once SD Skarmory was revealed with the PP advantage he had accumulated. But he played it slowly to convert his advantage. According to him, it was the best way to play as risk-free as possible.
Oh man, he made a whole post about
But
this.
according to Telly, it was pointless switching just to bad manner him and keep the game going. And what
The other guy said take a nap.
happened after that series? Well, quite a few things actually. The rules on tying a game became slightly modified. In addition to the ability for players to agree on a tie, there would now be a 1000 turn hard cap on a game. If a
Wow.
game reaches that limit, it is automatically tied. While it's true that there are rare cases where a winning strategy would legitimately take 1000 turns to execute, it was deemed unreasonable for anyone to have to play that long, and the 1000
this is
turn
ridiculous.
limit was implemented.
How much is 1,000 turns? Say you take 6 seconds deciding every turn. Most people take a lot longer than that. Okay, say you take 10 seconds to decide a turn. That's 10,000 seconds for 1,000 turns at 10 seconds each, which is like 2.5 hours of just playing one Pokemon game. Assuming you take 10 seconds on every single attack, and most people take a little bit longer than 10 seconds to decide what they want to do. Say you take 15 seconds on every single play. 250 minutes! I wonder how long this took.
Few games have ever gone that far, and it mainly serves as a theoretical limit without interfering with most legitimate strategies. If two players know that the game can be forced into 1000 turns, they'll likely agree to a tie instead of playing it out.
Because people
ABR
got
would go
stuff
on
to
become the
do.
greatest player of all time, and unfortunately Telly would go on to later get permanently banned from Smogon with issues related to harassment and trolling.
Oh, wow, that's tough. That is the worst possible ending and then the best possible ending that you could get in this
He
situation.
has not been seen since.
He's never been seen again, poor guy. Well, that was a fantastic little ending there.
What do you think of the tournament coverage?
It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Freezeye, thank you so much for this. Thank you for explaining this. That was ridiculous. I'm trying forever. Ty is not an option. That is so good. He was literally being the protagonist. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. If you enjoyed it, go and subscribe to Freezeye. If you want to see more of my dumb face, you can always subscribe here as well.